All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving deep into something that's at the absolute heart of any high-performance AI system, the API. It's kind of like this invisible battleground where three major contenders are fighting for dominance. We're going to break down REST, GraphQL, and gRPC to help you figure out which one is really the right choice for what you're building.
So check this out. A staggering 41%. Almost half of all AI projects fail to hit their performance goals. And companies are pouring millions, literally millions, into fine-tuning their models, but the real culprit? Well, it's often hiding in plain sight, right there at the protocol level.
And that brings up a huge question, one you've got to ask yourself. Is your API the silent bottleneck in your system? Think about it. While your team is laser-focused on the AI model itself, the API protocol you're using, that choice, it can literally be the difference between a snappy 25-millisecond response that feels instant and a clunky 250-millisecond failure that just completely tanks the user experience.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to frame this whole thing as a competitive bake-off, an API bake-off. We've got three contenders stepping into the ring, but which one is going to come out on top when it comes to building those high-performance, real-time AI apps? All right, let's meet our contestants.
First up, we've got REST. You can think of REST as the universal standard, the reliable workhorse of the API world. This is the one everybody knows. It's a resource-oriented style, and it's absolutely dominant, with something like 83% market adoption. It's familiar, it's straightforward, and it's pretty much the default choice for most public-facing APIs out there.
Okay, next in the ring is GraphQL, the flexible data fetcher. Now this one's really cool. It's a query language that lets the client, your app, ask for exactly the data it needs. No more, no less. This is a huge deal because it solves one of REST's biggest headaches, overfetching. When you get a whole bunch of data you didn't even ask for and end up wasting bandwidth.
And our final contender, this is the speed demon. It's gRPC, the performance powerhouse. This is a framework that came out of Google, and it was built from the ground up for one thing: pure, unadulterated speed. It uses HTTP/2, and it's designed for those moments when every single millisecond counts and performance is absolutely non-negotiable.
All right, ding, ding, ding. It's time for round one, raw speed and efficiency. Because let's be real, in the world of real-time AI, performance isn't just a nice-to-have, it's literally everything.
Okay, so to understand the speed difference, you've got to look at how they talk. REST and GraphQL, they typically use JSON. It's text, it's human-readable, which is great for us. But gRPC, it uses something called protocol buffers. This is a super compact, super fast binary format. We're talking ones and zeros here. It's not meant for human eyes. It's meant for machines to parse as fast as humanly or, machinely possible.
And this is where you really see the impact. Just look at these production benchmarks. The median latency. gRPC is sitting pretty at 25 milliseconds. REST, it's way up there at 250. And throughput, gRPC is handling 50,000 requests a second, which is more than double what REST can even dream of. The difference isn't just big, it's absolutely staggering.
Let's just focus on that latency for a second, because this is wild. For a typical AI task, gRPC is around 25 milliseconds. REST is at 250. That is a 10 times performance difference, a 10x gain. For any app that needs to feel real-time, that's not just an improvement, it's a complete game changer.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Listen to Matt Klein. This is the guy who created Envoy, which is a massive deal in the world of service proxies. He says, and I quote, "For anything latency sensitive, gRPC's features are indispensable." That's a powerful word. When a guy like that says it's his default choice, you really got to pay attention.
Okay, so gRPC is the clear winner on speed, right? Case closed? Well, not so fast. Raw speed doesn't mean a thing if it's a nightmare for your team to actually use. So for round two, let's talk about developer experience. Because a protocol is only as good as what people can actually build with it.
And this timeline, this really tells the story. To get a developer up to speed, comfortable with REST, we're talking about 2 days. GraphQL is a bit steeper, maybe 6 days. But gRPC, with all its new concepts and required tooling, you're looking at a week, maybe even more. And for any engineering team, that's a pretty significant time investment.
So yeah, it really comes down to trade-offs, doesn't it? REST has the huge advantage of being familiar to practically everyone. GraphQL is amazing for front-end teams. It gives them this incredible freedom to just grab the data they need and innovate without begging the back-end team for changes. But then there's gRPC, and that steep learning curve, especially around tooling, is its Achilles heel.
And here's why that tooling thing is such a monster of a problem. Tom Wilkie from Grafana Labs, the observability people, he puts it perfectly. You can't just use your regular, everyday HTTP tools to figure out what's going on with gRPC. Why? Because they're trying to read binary streams. They're basically useless. You need a whole new, specialized set of tools, and that can be a massive hurdle to get over.
All right, it's time for the third and final round. Let's get out of the abstract world of benchmarks and into the real world. Because this whole debate, it's not really about which protocol is best in a vacuum. It's about picking the right tool for the specific job you're trying to do.
So when should you stick with good old REST? Well, it is still the undisputed champion for public-facing APIs. If you need other people, third-party developers, to easily connect to your system, or you're just building a straightforward CRUD application, create, read, update, delete, REST's simplicity and its gigantic ecosystem are just impossible to beat.
And what about GraphQL? Where does it really shine? It's all about complex front ends. Think mobile apps, single-page web apps, those really data-intensive dashboards where you're pulling information from all over the place. That's GraphQL's sweet spot. Its ability to grab data from a bunch of different sources in just one single network call, that's its absolute killer feature.
And gRPC? This is for all your high-performance, internal, behind-the-scenes communication. We're talking microservices chatting with each other at lightning speed, real-time data streaming between your servers, or even communication with IoT devices out in the field, where every byte and every millisecond of efficiency is critical. That's gRPC's domain.
So, after all of that, who wins the great API bake-off? Who gets the crown? Well, the verdict might actually surprise you. Because there isn't one single winner. The real victory, it's a hybrid approach.
Here's the secret. You don't have to pick just one. In fact, you probably shouldn't. The smartest companies get this. Over 60% of big enterprise AI platforms are already using a hybrid approach. They're cherry-picking the best parts of each protocol and using them where they make the most sense.
And this is what that winning architecture actually looks like. It's a three-step pattern. Step 1, you use REST for your public APIs, the front door to your system, for maximum compatibility. Step 2, you put GraphQL in the middle as a backend for front end, a flexible layer that feeds data perfectly to your web and mobile apps. And step 3, for all that internal chatter between services, you unleash the powerhouse, gRPC, to make it all happen at incredible speed.
Charity Majors, the CTO at Honeycomb, just nails the whole idea with this quote. She says your choice should reflect both today's latency needs and tomorrow's scale ambitions. The key idea here is to build for evolution, not just for the initial launch. It's about thinking ahead.
And that really leaves us with one final crucial question that I want you to take back to your own work. Take a hard look at your systems. Is your API architecture just built to solve the problem you have right now, today, or is it truly built and ready for the scale you're going to need tomorrow? Something to think about. Thanks so much for watching.